Shalom, everybody. So, as I've been talking about, enjoy talking about dreams and visions and things that I've seen in my life. So, I just want to talk about um, probably one of the most intense experiences I've ever had with the Lord, and it's part of my coming to salvation, coming to know Yeshua, Jesus testimony. So when I was 11, I was being homeschooled, and I've given this story before, and I've talked about it before in another video. But when I was being homeschooled, I loved science. And so one of the things about me loving science is I would go outside and I would just look at the clouds and just kind of see what kind of clouds they were. At the same time, I was in a place where at 11, 12 years old, I was really questioning a lot of the Bible, questioning if what was happening to the disciples at that time, did they steal his body? Was the lie true? Was there some great big conspiracy? How much of the Bible was true? I can't really ask anybody because nobody's alive today that was there. So I just really wanted to know, if the Bible was real, if God was real, if Jesus was real. I just needed to know, am I going to church every Sunday, and I'm going to Sunday school and children's church and hearing these stories and singing these songs? Was it real? I needed to know in my heart, that Jesus was real, that Yeshua was real. And so I remember just praying, if you're real, I need to know. Or else all this is kind of a waste fake, kind of deep for a 12-year-old to be thinking, but that's, what was going on in my heart. And so I was just outside one day, probably in the spring, early spring, because I know it was kind of chilly out, and I know maybe it was in the fall too, because I know I was close to turning 13, which meant I got to go to start youth group. So maybe it was more towards the fall. I'm sorry, I don't remember dates and times very well, but I remember very clearly I was outside this one day, and there were just clouds, they were amazing. And so I had my grandfather's binoculars, and I would go outside every day and look through the binoculars sometimes, just looking at the clouds close up. Just thought it was awesome how shadows would happen and how they would move with the wind and stuff like that. And so one day I'm outside and I'm looking through the binoculars, and all of a sudden I hear a voice say, "David, over here," and I turn and I look with my, the binoculars, and Yeshua is standing there. He's standing there in the clouds, like heaven opened up. I see him standing there. He has his, his arms are just out in like a hug, like to accept me. I saw, the holes in his wrists were in his wrists, and they were in his feet. And I saw his eyes. He was smiling a toothy grin, with a beard, and he had, his teeth were showing, and he was smiling, and he was wearing a white robe with like a velvet purple sash, and that's all he had. And he didn't say anything else to me, but I felt everything. What I saw when I looked into his eyes was more than any words he could speak to me. I felt clear as glass. I felt like he saw me, and I knew in that moment that he was real. And so in that moment, like I was so in shock, and I take down the binoculars and he's, still there. But it's like when I was looking through the binoculars, I'm thinking he's, binoculars cause things to magnify. When I took down the binoculars, he was still there in the same size. So it was like the magnifying was, I can't even explain it. It was beyond explanation. And so I turned, to the door because I wanted my mom to see too. I wanted to get my mom. I was like, I was like, I turned to get my mom. And when I looked back to see if he was still there, everything was gone. The clouds that he had appeared in were gone. The opening was gone. He was, he wasn't there anymore. But it was, times I look back, I'm like, I wish I hadn't stopped looking. How long would I have stared, but like, I didn't know what to do. So I wanted to share that with my mom. And so, that's real, as take it from this Messianic Jew, Yeshua is real because I've seen him. And for most of my life, from that point afterwards, when I would tell people, they'd be like, no, you're crazy. You can't tell people about this. You need to hide it. You need to keep it between you and God. And recently the Lord's been saying, no, you share this. I gave this to you for a purpose and a reason. And I revealed myself to you for a purpose and for a reason. And stop being afraid, and don't worry if people think you're crazy. Paul, right? When God appeared to Paul, when Jesus appeared to Paul, and the light came around, he told that story multiple times. I mean, the disciples, told about, when Moses and Elijah came down on the mountain, they all told their stories. In the Old Covenant, when Elijah or Isaiah saw God or saw, pre-incarnate Christ in the clouds with everything that happened, they all told their story. If they hadn't, we wouldn't have most of the Bible. So the Lord was like, I don't show you things, dreams, visions, and appearances for nothing, just to hold on to and to keep a secret. He's like, I don't want you to keep it a secret anymore. So something else I want to share with you in this is when I used to love to draw too. So when I was about maybe 13 or 14, drawing a lot with my friends and trying to do comic books, I drew the best I could of what I saw. I added some things to this. I added a cross. I added him holding a staff, just to kind of add some pizzazz as I was trying to draw him again, to how I saw him. So this picture also, he doesn't have teeth, right? Because I didn't know how to draw teeth. When I tried to draw what I saw with Jesus having teeth, he looked like a shark or like Dracula. I didn't enjoy that, so I just drew him just kind of like with a lined mouth. But really, everything in this is as best as I could draw when I was like 14 or 15 years old. So I'm going to try to hold this up. And so this is how I saw him. You see the scars in his hands. Hold on, I made his arms a little long. But the scars in his hands, the scars in his feet, I saw his face. Like, this is basically how I saw him, with the white robe and the purple sash, and just standing there. The cross wasn't there and the staff wasn't there, like I said, but the way the clouds were and the way he was standing was like a portal or something had opened up, and he was standing there. So I know it's not a great picture. Remember I was 13, but I wanted to kind of get it out as best as I could. So that's my part of my testimony. Dreams and visions, they're real. He's real. Take it from a Jew, a Messianic Jew. If you're watching this, he is real and he loves you. I've seen him. He's real. I know he's real. And there's no amount of you're crazy, or you had bad pepperoni, or you had a bad pizza, or you ate something weird. It was none of that, because I was wide awake. It wasn't a dream. I wasn't like knocked down conscious or anything like that. I was wide awake when I saw this happen. So I hope this blesses you, and I hope that you will search out and see for yourself, because it says that the Lord is looking down for those who will look back to him. So he's looking for those who are looking up and who are looking for him urgently and diligently and with all your heart. And I don't mean to like stop your job, but you know what, in quiet time or in quiet place, go outside and walk and just look to the heavens and look and just speak to him, and just use your imagination even to just believe, to the things that are described in scriptures of heaven, and how much he loves you. So God bless you. Shalom for today. All right. Bye-bye.